What's up, YouTube? I'm back with another video. This is Anthony Seamster here, and I am going to talk to you today about taking and passing your California State real estate exam. So I was going to tell you a little bit about the process and how it works. So for a long time, I've been wanting to be an agent. I love looking at houses. I love the process. I love open houses and going to see how people decorate their house and how the paint colors they use and how they use furniture and inside and outside and all that. So I was like, you know what, I really enjoy this. I can make some extra money while doing it. You know, let me hair's out of control. Let me try to get my license. You know, I would love to sell houses, and I bought, you know, 4 houses up to this point and sold 3 of them. So it's like, you know, I might as well do it myself and make some money, right? So a couple years ago, I enrolled in a real estate course. I enrolled in, it's called Real Estate Express. I think I signed up through, Groupon. I got there, Groupon was doing a sale, and they were, I think it was about $100 for the real estate course. So I believe it gave you the 3 classes. I forget what they were: real estate principles, real estate practice, and I think real estate laws or something. I forget what 3 courses were. So and it was all audio. So you can turn your phone on, turn it in the car, have it play through the speakers, you can click through chapters, chapter. So it was really easy because I can be at work, put my headphones in, doing my work, having the course play in my ear. I could be in the car, driving home, driving the kids, going to school, and it could be playing, right? For some people that doesn't work. For me, it was convenient for me in my life. It was convenient for the time that I had. You know, I had 3 kids, so I was like, I had to you know, spend the time when I could, and you know, make it work. So I started, I think, a couple years ago, and I was doing it slowly. You know, when I had time at work, putting it on when I was available, letting it play through my headphones and stuff, and I wasn't the best at keeping up. So I started with it and then literally probably didn't touch it for probably 6 months. You know, life gets in the way, kids, travel, you know, fun. I just got sidetracked. So I was like, you know, I need to go do this. I need to figure this out, right? So you can pay, they give it to you for a year, but you can pay $20 per course to extend it to another year. So I had to extend it probably twice to get through it. So I extended it. You keep going through. You go through at your own pace. You can do as much as you want, right? You do much of the chapters as you want, but you have to wait a certain amount of time between each chapter. Has like a final exam for that chapter, and after every chapter, you have to wait a certain amount of days before you can take the exam for that course. So you know, moving my way through it, doing the exams when I can, listening to the course when I can, and throughout the course, there's a couple of different instructors that give you that teach you, that give you the lessons, that give you the courses and talk about the lectures or whatever. They give you a glossary you can print out, which gives you all the terms, real estate terms that they may use throughout the course, throughout the whole course. You get that in the beginning. You print it out. You can go through it, make flashcards, study guide, whatever. They give you infographics, so of everything they talk about, to make it easier for you to explain, they give you pictures and explain it. You know, like the bundle of rights. You know, you have possession, all that stuff. It has the different levels of that, and they give you the pictures and let you know. Because some people learn by seeing. You can talk to me some people all day long, but until they actually see it, then they'll understand it. So I did that, and finally so I probably started in 2017, right? Now there are courses where you can go to an actual classroom. You can go to an actual classroom and go for like, I think 2 or 3 weeks, knock it out that way, right? But just for me, I know that it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work for me to have to go to a classroom, you know, I work full time. I have my own job, and the kids, I can't spend 3-4 hours a day in a classroom for this, right? Well, some people that may work. Some people might say, you know what, I'm gonna take a week off work, or I'm gonna, you know, make it work with my work schedule, and after work, go straight there for 3 weeks. Might work for you, right? I like the online. I like the fact I can go back to it whenever I wanted to. I can go back and go over what I've already studied. I can go back and look at all the papers and the infographics and the vocab words. I can go back and look at all that stuff at any time. Excuse me. Now, once the course, you have 3 courses, right? Once the course expires, once you finish it and it expires after the year, you can't go back to it. So you can only go back through the course that you're in. You can only go back through those chapters for the one that you're actually working on, right? So after I finally get through them, I'm like, okay, you know what? You love doing this. You want to do this, right? You've bought 4 houses and sold 3 of them, right? And you could be the one selling your own houses, making your own, you know, saving that commission, you know, paying yourself, really, right? You know, I was like, okay, let me hanker down, let me do it, right? So this year, probably in, I think September or October, I finally was like, okay, I got this, let me do this. So I finally went through them every day, boom, boom, boom. Went through the chapters, finished the final exams, went through the course, listened to everything, and I finally passed, got through all the courses. And after you finish your course, they give you a certificate that says your name, the school, and all that. It tells you, hey, you know, congratulations, you passed this part, right? So you have to do, I think, 45 hours per course. So I think it's 135 hours total. So I think it's 45, 45, and 45 is 135 for the whole for all 3 courses, right? So each course is 45 hours, right? Of course, it works out that, but depending on how fast you go through it, it just depends on the pace of the person and how fast they can go through it, right? So went through all that, finally finished it, right? So then I went ahead and give your certificates. Once you finish, you have to apply for the state exam, right? I live in California, and so it gives you, when you apply for the exam, it gives you a play-by-play. It gives you can print out the instructions from the DRE website. And it tells you what you need to apply for the exam, right? So you have to get your certificates for each of the classes. You have to you have to get fingerprinted, DOJ, FBI, and there's another one, DOJ, FBI. I forget the third one. Get fingerprinted, and you have to go to, you know, FedEx, whatever, who does fingerprints, or live scan, and get your fingerprints done, and then they give you a receipt, and they give you the paper. They sign the portion of the paper, and then you submit that with your certificate, the application for the exam. You pay a fee. I think the fee is $60 for the exam, and I think the fee, I forget. I think I paid $300 even. I think it was $240 for the application and all that, and I think it was $60. That truck going by? Okay. And I think it was $60 for the actual test, right? So you submit all that, the proof of your fingerprints, the certificate, the application fee of the check or whatever, right? So I went to the UPS, I went to the post office, sent it certified, and I sent it over in, I think, November. I believe it was November like 19th. I submitted it to the post office, and they said it'd be there in 2 days, right? Okay, I get this, right? So I've heard that it could take about 2 months for you to get a response, to get you to test it, right? And once you submit your information, when they approve you, they'll send you an email saying, congratulations, you're qualified or whatever. Now you can go on to they have an e-licensing website. You log in, create a username, password, you log in, and then you can schedule your exam, right? You can click on the area you want to take it, San Diego, Sacramento, Los Angeles, Bay Area, and select whatever area you want to take the exam in. You click on it, and it gives you a list of the dates and times you can take them. And for here, I believe it was 8:45 and 12:45. that you can take them, and they give you 3 hours for the exam, right? So I submitted my paperwork in November, right? Before Thanksgiving, right? And I submitted it, right? I got married, right? Ooh, I got married November 27th, right? So I submitted my application, right? I was trying to get stuff done, right? So I submitted my application, and I'm waiting. A month goes by, December. Another month goes by, it's January. Okay, and you can check on the website. You put in your birthday and your social, and it'll tell you if you're able to register for the test, right? So if you don't get an email, you can go in there and put in your birth date and your social security number, and then it'll say, sorry, we don't have a match for you, or yes, or it'll take you to the next step to register so you can schedule the exam. So I kept checking. November, after December, applied November, nothing. January, nothing. February, nothing, right? So I'm thinking, okay, it's been a while and I haven't heard anything, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna call, and I keep saying I'm gonna call. I'm like, okay, let me let a little more go by. Another week goes by, nothing. Keep checking, can't get in, right? So finally, in the first week of March, I think it was the first week of March, I called and I was like, hey, I applied for my exam back in November. And you can also, on the DRE website, it tells you what date that they're processing the applications for. So based on whatever date they received it, it'll tell you we're processing applications received the week of December 19th or the week of December 28th or whatever, 26th, whatever the case may be, right? So when I was looking, I was checking it, and it got past my November whatever, right? So I'm like, okay, they should already processed it, right? Couldn't get in. So I kept telling myself, call. My wife was like, call. I was like, okay, I'll call. Got sidetracked at work, whatever, right? So I finally called 2 weeks ago, right? And I was like, hey, I applied for my exam like 2 months ago? No, at this point it's almost 3 months ago. And I was like, I haven't heard a word, I haven't heard anything back. I can't log in to schedule my test date. So I'm like, what's up? What's going on, right? So he's like, oh, I see that mind you, they cashed my check back in December. So I know they got my application because they cashed a check in December. So I knew they got it, right? So I'm like, he's like, oh, I see you received it, but I don't know why it's not processed, right? Okay, right? So I'm like, well, what does that mean for me? And he was like, okay, let me call our exam specialist or whatever. Let me let her know, and then she'll give you a call for sure today, right? So okay, we hang up. She's gonna call me back, right? So I'm thinking, like, are you serious? Like, have I been sitting here this whole time thinking that something's wrong with my application? I missed a number, I put my social wrong, phone number, email, something, right? So, I'm all like, okay, we'll figure it out, right? So about an hour later, she calls me back. She's like, hi, Mr. Seamster. She's like, oh, I see that we got your application and you are qualified. So you can go ahead and go to the e-licensing system and go ahead and schedule your test date. And I'm thinking, so you guys had it all, we're sorry. She was like, we're sorry, we had it here, we don't know why it wasn't processed. So I've probably been sitting here for a month or two thinking that something's wrong with the application, or they're so backlogged that they just can't process it, even though they cast my check in December. And they've already passed my the processing date that they set on the website, right? So it was literally sitting on somebody's desk and they just never processed it. So if I didn't call for another month, it probably would have still been sitting there, right? Crazy, California for you, right? So I was like, oh, okay. So I scheduled my test date. I scheduled it for March 6th, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it on Friday. I'm gonna take a day off work, go do it, and knock it out, right? And then I was like, you know what? Let me change it. Let me change it to Thursday because we got something going on. My wife we got some appointments on that Friday, right? So I don't take a whole day off on Friday because the appointment we scheduled was after work, so we could not miss work to be there. So I'm like, why would I, take a whole day off and go to the appointment if the reason that we scheduled the appointment that way was so we didn't miss work. So I scheduled on a Thursday. Now also remember, if you schedule your test date and you want to change it, it is $15. Mind you, you go in there yourself. You reschedule it yourself. You have nobody. You have to talk to nobody. Nobody helps you. It's all automated. It's all online. You log in yourself. It cost me $15 to change my test date. $15. That's crazy. That's crazy, right? Like $15 to change my date from Friday to Thursday. No inconvenience to anybody, right? So I went in Thursday. So my test was on Thursday, right? So I also Real Estate Express, the place where I did my schooling, they have a prep course. They have an exam prep course that takes you through various practice tests and material that you need to know for the test for the state that you're in. So I was like, cool, okay. It was like $60. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay it. I went through it. I didn't really go through the whole thing. I just went straight, because you can skip ahead. I went straight to the exam part because I'm a pretty good test taker. You know, I can see stuff like 1 or 2 times and kind of remember it in my head and be able to reiterate it and be able to, you know, to remember it for the most part. So I was like, okay, let me go to the exam. So what I would do was practice exams. You can take as many times as you want, and it tells you how many, if you passed, you failed, how many you missed, whatever. So what I would do is I would go through. This is a good study practice. I would go through, if you do an exam prep, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get some more exam prep after this. But if you do an exam prep and they give you practice tests, what I would do is I would keep taking the practice test until they keep practicing, and each time try to better your score. And if you keep bettering your score each time you take it, that means you're retaining the information, or that means the information is sticking, right? So I did that. It gives you a smaller test with material to read and stuff, and smaller tests, and then it gives you, at the end, it gives you a California practice exam. I think mine was 105 questions, and you have to get the 70%. So you have to get 70% of 70% right out of the 105, which is the exam. You have to get. They give you 150 questions. I think you have to get 30. You have to get 70% or above to pass, right? So I did that, went to the exam, went studying, keep taking the test until I got better and better at some of the concepts, because it would stick in my head if I keep taking the test. And then the questions were pretty much the same. They just would jumble the order. They would just switch what order they were in. So I would keep taking it and taking it. Every time I took it, I got a better score. So like, okay, I think I'm pretty good. And also, I'm telling you guys, for anything you have to do, YouTube is a lifesaver, right? Because there's endless resources on YouTube about whatever, however, whenever, whatever test you're taking, whatever tool you need, or whatever you're trying to do. YouTube it. It's a miracle, right? So on YouTube, it's not sponsored, by the way, but there's this channel called Prep Agent, right? This guy does webinars with, I think they pay him. He does webinars with certain people who are taking the exam, and he goes through it with them. He goes through it's on YouTube. I think it's Prep Agent, and I think his name is Joe, actually. And it'll show you the screen. It'll show you all the vocabularies. He goes through it with each of the people that he does the webinar, the little conference with. And as they go through, they'll go through words, boom, 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 and knock out the keywords. The keywords and phrases that they'll use, right? So I'm telling you, on the way to work in the morning, I have my Bluetooth in my car, right? And if you don't have Bluetooth, put a headset in, and it would play. It would go to the webinars, right? You don't have to. I mean, you can't see the screen, right, because you're driving, but you can hear they'll say the words like, hey, what does bundle of rights mean, or what does intestate mean, or what does testate mean, or fee simple, or stuff like that. What does that mean? And they just keep saying it and saying it and saying it, and each person that he did a webinar with would have a different response, or they would have a different way of remembering that term and using the term in practice, right? So it really is really helpful when you get different tools and different tips to remember something, because whatever the one is the best one for you, whatever one helps you the best, you can choose. Oh, I like this one best. This one will stick in my mind the most, or the way she said that, or the way he said that will make me remember it better than the way they explained it in this course. So you just got to pick the best way for you. So I would listen to them on the way to work and the way home. I would pop them on, and they would just go through the words, go through the vocab words, go through the concepts. Some people would have questions about certain concepts and questions about what they were and all that, and I would just go through them, boom, 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 go through each one, right? So that helped a lot. Like literally, I'm telling you that the prep agent was probably the best practice that I had. It helped so much in prepping for the exam. It just gave me clarity on a lot of terms, because these are legal terms, right? Terms they use in real estate law. So a lot of the terms you're gonna be like, what does that mean? Like, how does this pertain to me? Like, what does that mean? So the way that they explained it, the way that he went through it in layman's terms with the people he was helping, the way they studied, it just was so helpful. And by the end, by the time, like before my test, when I would listen to them, literally all of the questions they would ask, I was able to answer. All the terms they would ask, what does this mean? I was able to answer. So I knew at that point, okay, I'm ready, right? I'm ready. No more studying or whatever's gonna do anything for me. I'm ready for this, right? Okay. So so the day of the test, so the test is like, it's like Fort Knox, right? So they give you, test is at 12:45. So I went to work, left work early, went up there, because you have to check in, right? Literally, you go in there, they give you, so just so you're prepared, right? This is for California. And ours, and I took mine in Sacramento. So you go into it's in the back of the DRE, Department of Real Estate, and you go in this back door, and there's in the door to the right, there's a section in there. So you go in there, and there's proctors in there. Some, they're nice older ladies. They direct you to the lockers. You go to the lockers. You take off everything. Like, only thing you can leave on is a wedding band, your watches, your earrings, your chains, your keys, tissue, anything in your pocket has to come out. They check your arms. Like, literally, they go through your arms and it's like, hey, they look at your arms, make sure there's no writing on them, your hands, everything, right? Because it's a state exam, so they don't want you to cheat. So nothing, headphones, everything. You do that, you go to the lockers, and then you go to the front counter. All you keep with you is your ID, and then the locker they give you has like a little keychain, a little wristlet thingy with a number on it, so you know what locker you went to. So you have that and your ID. You go to the counter, you check in. When you apply for your exam, you get an exam notice. It says the date, it says your name on it, the date of your test, and all that. You take that with you, and you give that to them with your ID. They check you in, and then they give you a mouse, a little Dale or whatever, what kind of ever mouse it is, to take the test. So they, like I said, they check your arms and all that, and your pockets have to be empty. Otherwise, you have to keep going back and forth to empty your pockets, make sure nothing's in there. Earrings off. They left my nose ring in. They let me keep that in, but my earrings and my chain, that came off, right? So they give you a mouse, and then you go in. So all you have in your hand is your ID, the mouse, and the little wristlet with your locker number on it. So they put you in there. Once they approve you, you walk into a little door. So it's literally maybe 10 desks on each side of the room, right? And there's about 4 or 5 chairs on each desk, and the computer is inside of the desk. So literally, you're looking down into the test. So that way you can't see anybody else's. You're focused on yours. Your head's down. Excuse me. Your head's down, and you just focus on your test. So they give you 3 hours. They give you 3 hours to take the test. So I'm going through, and they give you also on your desk, when you get there, is a whiteboard, a little eraser, and a little white dry erase marker on the actual desk, and a calculator, which I didn't need it, but in case you need a calculator, it's there for you, because there's so many different variations of the test. There's so many different variations of the test that maybe some questions on there at whoever gets that side may have a reason to use a calculator, but for mine it wasn't. So you give you 3 hours, and on top of the thing it counts down. And then you can also, throughout the test, if you need to take a break, there's a take break button on the actual exam. You click take a break, go to the front, give them your mouse and stuff, go to the bathroom, or go get a drink, whatever, come back, get your stuff again, and go back into the room. And if you get there early, I got there probably 20-30 minutes early. As soon as you get there, they check you in, and you want to start the test, so you can wait until 12:45 until it starts, or you can start when you get there. So I started when I got there. So I started as soon as I sat down, I was ready, I started the test, right? So as you're going through the questions, I recommend the ones you don't, because on the left-hand side, it gives you a marker of the questions you've already taken, right? And if you answered it, it turns a little box, turns black. If you haven't, it's still white, right? So what I would recommend is going through the questions and answering the ones that you know. And and the ones you don't know, leave those, because you have 3 hours, right? So you have plenty of time to go back and correct any mistakes or errors you may have, right? So I would go through the ones that you know, the whiteboard, or if you want, you can write the numbers down on the whiteboard, the ones you're not sure about, right? Because sometimes when you take a big exam like this, the answer to a question that might be up here is further down in the other questions. So, or another question might give you insight. Oh shit, that's what that was. Oh, I remember what that question was. Okay, now I remember that question, right? So that's what I would recommend. If you don't know it, skip it. You have time to go back, or write the number down, or look at write it, put an answer down. If you think you know it, write it on the whiteboard so you can go back and check it when you're done. And you can go back and look at it, and like I said, one of the other questions you may have answered, the other questions that they asked might have triggered something, and then you remember the answer for the other question. So write on the whiteboard, or leave it blank on the thing until you're sure. So I went through and answered the ones. And a lot of times, a lot of them are situational, and it's like, just you have to just take your best real estate from what you know, the concepts you know, from the law that you know, from what you've done in your studies, to apply to the question. Because sometimes you're thinking like, this doesn't make no sense, but then you have to think about, okay, what are the rules around this? Like, can they do this? No. Can they do this? No. And then just mark out, then just go the process of elimination. Mark out the two you don't know, and look at the other two and like, does these two make sense? Does this make sense in real estate law? Like, does this make sense for practicing real estate? Does this make sense, right? And then through the process of elimination, pick the best answer that makes the most sense to you. So I went through, I did that, I went through boom, boom, boom. It wasn't as vocab intensive as I thought it would be. There was a lot of vocab on there, but I thought literally I was going to answer 150 questions of what is this or what is that, and this is this and this and that. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But that's also because I prepared for it. I studied, you know. I didn't study the whole time. I was waiting for my exam date, but when I'm a good crammer, so when it came close to the exam, a couple weeks out, I studied. Like every day I studied. I did something towards it every day. I might not sit there for an hour or two, but literally I spent as much time as I could every day studying something, looking over something to get it in my brain. That's all you have to do. You have to spend a little time every day trying your hardest to get these concepts, trying your hardest to get them in your brain and understand what they are. So when they ask you questions on the exam, it doesn't matter how they ask them, you're gonna know what they're talking about. You know, they can ask the same question 5 different ways, but if you know the underlying meaning of what they're asking you, then that question you can get right every time. So just take your time, it's not a rush. I finished in an hour and a half, and I was the first one that was done. But people came in various times throughout the test. So, you know, when I came, I think it was two or three people that came at the same time I did. And I finished before them, but there were people who came 20 minutes after that, and because you can come literally from any time up until the test starts at 12:45, and they let you take it as long as they're in there. So I just have to say that. And then okay, so after let me finish. So after I did that, I went through the exam. Like I said, answered the questions I knew, the ones I didn't know. Wrote on the whiteboard, wrote A, B, C, D, process of elimination to kind of find out, okay, which one makes more sense, right? So I did that the whole way through. And the ones that I knew them. I banged them out. I knew this, I know this, right? There was some that I was like, I don't know, but let me just take an educated guess. This makes no sense. So I went through and checked the ones I didn't know. I answered all the questions. And then you click on then when you're done with the test, like I said, I finished in an hour and a half. When you're done, you click finish, you click submit, and then you get up, take your ID, your little wrist thing, and your mouse to the front. They check your arms again, your hands. You give her the ID and the mouse. You can make sure you are who you are. She prints out he prints out it was for she for me. They print out your results. They seal them in a piece of paper. They fold it over and they tape it, and then they say, please don't open it till you leave the room. Go to your locker, like literally get dressed. It feels like you're at the airport again. You get dressed, put whatever back on, and then you walk out. So then they ask you, please don't open your results until you exit the building. So literally, once I got out the building, I tore it open, and the first line I saw was congratulations. And it was like a rush of emotions, because for all these years, all the webinars I've listened to, all the audio I've listened to, all the classes I've done, you know, all the times I kept saying to myself, I want to do real estate. I'm gonna do this. And I finally finally did it, which was so exciting for me because I love real estate. I love houses. I love looking at houses, and to be able to sell them, tell people I know, I love, people I don't know, people I meet along the way, to help them to buy their home and buy a place that they're going to call home and they're going to live in. It's an amazing experience. So I just want to say, you know, if you have any questions, let me know. Comment down below. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be glad to answer them. All I can say is just relax. You can take this exam as many times as you need. You know, if I didn't pass the first time, I would take it again. So it's not a one-time end all. You can take it again. And then after you take it the first time, if you don't pass, you kind of have an idea of what the subsequent tests will be like. So just take it easy, calm down, study, and relax, because you can always take it again. You're not one and done. You can take it as many times. You can take it as many times as you need. You know, I know people who took it multiple times and they finally passed. All that matters is in the end that you pass. And I just can't wait to get my journey started and practice real estate. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you taking time watching the video. Have a good one.